What up, family? It's your boy DTLF back with another episode of Around the League, guys. Very excited for this one. We got a lot of topics to discuss, but of course, this show ain't what it is without a spectacular guest. And today, I got a very special one who just, by the way, just joined us right now, right on time, right on the dot. You guys know this guy from the Basketball Bulletin. You guys have seen this man on Around the League several times, and of course, Lakers Nation. My very special guest and friend, Dfree. How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man.
What's up, man? I'm doing pretty good. I made it just in time. I was running a little bit late, but happy to be here.
You did, man. I was about to tackle the first subject without you. I was like, wait a minute. It's a very good subject, man. I'm glad you made it on time. And how you guys doing, Chad Kimiko? Thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate you for being here, brother. All right, man. We're gonna dive right into this heater because Chandler Parsons seems to be stealing headlines just like he stole from his NBA teams during his career. And, this man came out here and said something really outlandish that I couldn't just ignore at this time. And usually I can ignore these takes. Gilbert Arenas recently said Kobe Bryant wasn't a top 15 player in his list. Now we got Chandler Parsons adding to that. And I think it's utter ridiculous, man. But have you heard the quote that he said, or should I repeat it here?
Was it the Jokic and Steph one? Yeah, I seen it.
Okay, so for those that didn't hear it, Chandler Parsons says he could argue that Nikola Jokic, Steph Curry are better players than Kobe Bryant. Then he went one step further and he said this. He said most people would say Kareem, Wilt, Bill, Bird, Magic, Tim Duncan, Jokic, or Steph. He said there's current players you might rank in front of Kobe. What are your thoughts, man? And what's wrong with the clickbait media nowadays, man? Talk to me, Dfree.
Well, you hit it out the park with the first part. I mean, the reality is these guys say these things because they want to get aggregated. They want us to talk about it, and they want their retweets, and they want all that. Chandler Parsons has low-key had several of these kind of quotes over the last year and a half since he's been doing, sports content. So he's been just kind of weird about it. I wouldn't fight anybody if they had any of those players that are the older players, aside from the two modern ones that you just listed off. I wouldn't fight any of those people or anybody typically for most of those names. But I would have Kobe. Obviously, we talked about this, top 5. And I don't think it's fair to say the Steph or Jokic has hit that level yet. And also, when you talk about better, I think there's a lot of things you have to consider too. Because sometimes one thing I think that gets kind of happens with sports discourse is that better sometimes gets conflated with greater. They're not exactly the same thing. Greater is more accolades. How many this did you win? What did your team do? But better is more your own individual skill. How did you refine that? And with that being the case, in my opinion, I think Kobe's one of the best players because I think he's one of the most skilled players to ever play. So while the other guys, they could have a case somewhere along the line, it certainly isn't now. And I don't know that it'll happen because neither of them excels to the degree Kobe did on the other side of the court either. So.
All right. I'm glad you addressed it in such a calm manner, man, because
I'm always calm.
Cooler heads have to prevail here. However, this man, all right, not only did he, like I already mentioned, he stole from NBA teams with those major contracts he hit, man, towards the end of his career. That last one especially. How dare you say that Jokic, of all people, yes, he has 3 MVPs, whatever, nobody cares. How dare you say that this man is better than a 5-time NBA champion, all-NBA player, Olympian, gold medalist? I don't even want to stack up the accolades. This is what frustrates me with today's modern NBA and media, is that they'll be prisoners of the moment. I've already heard takes. I don't know if you've read these online that quote unquote Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is a better overall skilled player than Kobe Bryant. There's already people saying this when he hasn't accomplished zilch, man. He hasn't accomplished a damn thing. And that's what drives me crazy. It's can we at least let these careers simmer down and fully develop before we can start throwing names in the melting pot here? It's egregious, man, at this point. And I think these clickbaiters, content creators, whatever they are, they have to be held accountable, right? They have to be held accountable for the nonsense. Look, if you want to say that LeBron James is better than Kobe Bryant, I won't argue. It's to each his own, right? If you want to say Michael Jordan, to each his own, right? But outside of that, Kareem is fair. Magic is fair for the conversation. You can say, you want to say, there's a couple players you could throw in there.
The guys that you listed earlier, like I said, I wouldn't fight anybody from most of those names.
I'm fighting
just
everybody.
Those last two.
I'm fighting everybody. It drives me crazy when people say Larry Bird. Larry Bird was sensational. Yes. All right. But we can't even start comparing accolades right now. With Larry Bird, one of the greatest passer/scorer combination we've ever seen. I get it. The respect is there. But when we start comparing accolades, it does not compare, man. I think we have set the bar so low now in this modern NBA where we just, okay, this player is scoring this amount of points a night, he's better than Kobe automatically. Oh, Devin Booker, he got his team to the finals, better than Kobe automatically. Oh, Kyrie Irving is the most skilled we've ever seen play, better than Kobe. So it's like it's gotten to the point where it's getting ridiculous, man. Like,
I actually almost can take a different perspective on it. I agree with what you said, but to me, if Kobe is the bar, I think that's also a sign of respect. That every single comparison is not like better than LeBron or whoever. It's like Kobe. That means they hold him in high regard, right? That's the way you could also look at that.
Well, that is a very nice spin you just put on that. But no, it is absolutely disrespectful.
Well, if you just want to be mad about it, that's different.
Okay. Well, all right. You know what? I'm starting to get heated. Look, here's the thing. Like, right, if they want to say in the conversation, then I agree with you. If they want to say better, that's where it gets disrespectful. But that'll be, again, that's a hour-long topic of conversation. So we're gonna have to move on from that. But all right, man. I don't know. All right, JJ Redick, man. All right, we saw what happened yesterday, man. The Lakers cut Quincy Oliveri and picked up 270-pound. Let's see if I get his name right. Trey Jameson. What are your thoughts on this move, brother, from yesterday?
I don't know. Like, I saw some people floating out there the idea that maybe Quincy wanted this so he could get a better opportunity, because we apparently don't give young guards opportunities. So I don't know why we keep getting them in our system.
Mm-hmm.
We keep getting them, and these guys just never get out there and they never get the chance to play. So we saw it with Scotty. I mean, JHS is always hurt, but it happened to him too. We don't really care about that though. It'll probably happen to Bronny at some point. Like, we just keep getting these young guys that we don't play. So I saw that floated. Personally, I mean, out of the 3 two-way guys, I would have kept him. I don't really like the triple big. They actually did the triple big earlier in the offseason prior to signing Quincy. Remember, he took Colin's spot. But I think that's because they're looking at it like we may not be able to get a big on the market. So that's what they're doing. And they're kind of holding on to their guys. And, Quincy winds up being a casualty of it. But personally, I like Koloko. I like Quincy. I would have probably moved on from Traore. So that's it. Otherwise, if you felt like you needed another bigger guy, but he hasn't, I mean, that doesn't mean he can't be something in the NBA, but he hasn't shown anything in particular yet. I don't really know what he's going to be out there doing. He apparently is one of the worst offensive players. I saw that floating around as a stat in the time that he's been out there. So that's one of the things too. I don't know really, but I do like the profile. He's big and athletic, which is mostly what we need. That's my one thing I don't like about some of the targets that were out there, like Jonas, like just slow, non-athletic. I don't really like that. But even in that, like, I'd still take Jonas, obviously. He's a proven commodity. But with this guy, I don't know. But Quincy, that's unfortunate that he is a casualty, and he's probably going to go somewhere and be a part of a rotation somewhere, especially in the next couple of years, and look pretty good. But I'm not surprised that they cut him, because there are guys in the G League averaging 30 points per game and they don't make it. So
absolutely,
I don't know,
bro. That's a great take. And by the way, I still don't understand why they did it. You're right. Why are we holding on to 3 bigs? 2 of those might not even get a lot of PT.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
It doesn't make sense, and that's going to lead us into the next topic. Really quick, chat. Appreciate you guys for being here. What's up, 100 Jules, Tamika, Kimiko, and my guy Solo. Good to see all of you guys in the chat, man. Welcome. Yes, we have a special guest here today, my guy Dfree. And we are going to grill them with all kinds of Laker questions today. So if you guys have Laker questions, make sure you guys log it in the chat, and we will try to pick the best of them to answer together. All right. So that leads into my next question, bro. And that is a quote that JJ Redick said today. He said, Lakers edition of the 6'10", 270-pound center Trey Jamison on the two-way contract coincides with what his and his coaching staff interest in experimenting with more two big lineups. Okay, and Anthony Davis plus another 5 on the floor. Are they finally waking up? And could this be the the result of them finally looking for another big to go alongside AD? What are your thoughts on that?
Like I said previously, they started. I don't know if that was in this video, but previously I was talking to you and I was telling you that they started the season doing that with Jax. In the preseason, start of the season, they would do it for like a small 5-minute burst in a game, but I thought it looked good each of the times they went to it. So it was surprising when JJ was asked about it, because Jovan, he's interesting because he's always at the games, obviously, but he has his own channel. He gets the same comments and he has a pulse on it. So he kind of like masks questions that people want to know. And he pretty much asked him in a roundabout way, like, why don't you do this? And JJ said a couple weeks ago, he doesn't think it looks good. He doesn't think that it's a good fit with him, with AD and Hayes or AD and Koloko. So it's kind of weird that he's kind of backtracking. But I think that should be a look that they try to go to. I don't know how often they would go to it, but 5-10 minutes a game or having it as an option, I think that could work. I thought that it looked good in the spurt that they had last game. And it makes it to where Jax is not put in a position to where he has to be the sole big, because he's not good as the sole big. He's not able to bang down there. He's just not big enough for it. He's not able to get those contested rebounds. He's not blocking shots really. Every now and again, he'll get one. But it makes it to where he's able to play a little bit more on the perimeter, use those quick feet, switch out. He got a steal, led to transition, caught a couple lobs. He looked pretty good in that stint, I think. So if that's what JJ is going to try to do, I think that's the right direction they should go, and they should target that on the market.
Yeah, you know what? And we're going to head into the market questions right now. But yeah, I found it really interesting, bro. Like we already talked about it, man. 3 bigs on 2-way contracts. I like Armel. Don't get me wrong. I like Armel, but it's like, are they going to find PT for these guys? They couldn't even find PT when we need some guard play. For my guy Quincy, or for even Devontae Graham, who's a veteran, who's on our South Bay Lakers team right now. Like, it's really hard to find PT. It seems like JJ's sticking with his 8-man rotations that I thought he was bluffing with. 9, like 7, really.
I told you he was dead serious too. Bro, that guy was dead serious.
That's crazy. I thought he was bluffing to motivate other guys. Are you a fan of these little 8, 7, 6?
It's not uncommon. I mean, Thibs does it. A lot of coaches do it. I mean, yesterday Thibs played 8 guys. Like,
that's a horrible example, by the way, because Thibs
he runs his guys into the ground. You're right, but he plays them 40+ minutes. JJ doesn't go that far, but a lot of guys do it. I would prefer to see 10. What I'll really be interested in is when Vando and Wood are back, because at that point he's gonna have to extend. There was a stretch 10 or so games ago where we started getting some of our guys back, and he actually did extend it to about 10 guys for a few games, because he kind of had to, and then it kind of came back down. And he's still, like, even with some of these games, he's still approaching or playing 10, but it's like Cam playing 6 or 7 minutes, and I'm like, dude, just cut the fat. I like Cam on the defensive side, but if you're gonna give him 5 minutes, then just pull him. Like, you might as well not even have him as a part of the rotation. Give those to somebody else that is playing, like DFS at this point. Let him stay out there for 30 minutes. Like, do that. But when the other 2 guys are healthy, then I think that's where it's going to go. But not a huge fan in general with what we've had, especially when we were dealing with injuries.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Again, really puzzling. Now, before I get into my next question, it looks like we got a mega chat here. Let's go ahead and honor that.
Eternally grateful I am. You have contributed with this super chat to a great cause. You have brought balance to the force. Thank you.
Nah, I don't need balance. I just need the dark side.
Yo. Shout out to DJ Williams. Thank you so much for the mega chat. He says, Dan, do you think we're going to go all for a legit scoring shooting guard and just get a solid big? We really need a bucket getter like Kobe so we can cause hell in the West. He said, I feel like that's what we need, man.
Right now, or like post LeBron, or like?
No, I think he means right now with the team right now. But I'll say this: you ain't gonna find no bucket getters like Kobe, bro, out there.
No.
Now I think somebody minor, like let's just say a scoring bucket off the bench, like Jordan Clarkson, might be able to make up for some of what we lost when we traded D'Lo as far as scoring off the bench. But to be honest, again, we have guys in the G League right now. I really like what's his name, Devontae Graham. We have guys that haven't signed to an NBA contract. What do you think, Dfree? There's guys like Lonnie Walker out there who can get you a bucket off the bench, but we don't have a roster slot. That's the only problem.
Yeah, so like we haven't hit the 10-day mark yet. So there's that. Devontae Graham, by the way, I just pulled up his G League stats. Not that that's completely indicative of what he would do, but he's only putting up 10 points on 30%, 37% shooting, 34%. Like Quincy was playing much better than this.
Yeah.
So yeah, if Quincy didn't get a run, I don't expect Devontae to. He's also kind of old. He's about to turn 30. Anyway, Lonnie specifically, I think would be nice, but he's got this thing where he's signed to that overseas team, and there's an out that he has like right around the time of the deadline. So, or I think like a week after the deadline, he can get out of that contract and go where he would need to go. It's like presuming that a team probably has a spot for him. I don't know that we need another bucket getter off the bench. I would like, if we're going to get like a guard player, I would like more of a facilitator, more of an organizer type off the bench. I think that would be nice. And bonus points if that player is athletic, because we just need athletic downhill rim pressure. I don't know if you noticed, but we don't have a lot of that on this team. If it's not LeBron or AR getting downhill, we don't have any driving kicks. We don't have all these other things that collapse the defense because we don't have that player on our team. So that's more or less what I'm looking for. But other than that, yeah, I don't really think we need a scoring two guard personally. We also have Austin who could do that, right. And Max has been pretty good. So
I like Shake Milton. I don't think he's gotten a fair shake, pun intended, yet. I like Shake Milton, man. I think he'll eventually grow into that scoring role. I mean, I've seen him throughout his career. He can get buckets, but I don't think he's found his role yet. Now, to answer your question, DJ, there's a couple players I like, but we need to create that roster slide by trading multiple contracts and hopefully dead weight on the roster away and try to get a big man. I still prioritize a big man, and I think the Lakers do as well. Especially they're going to run this new two big man schemes that JJ teasing us with. Yeah. They're just teasing though.
And I think that you also, if you're going to do that, you need to clear two spots because I think Koloko has played good enough to where he needs a spot. Like you need to keep him in your organization. You need to get him on, and you need to have him available to you if you wanted to go to him later on in the year and not be, restricted by the two-way contract and all the things that go with that. So,
yeah, no, absolutely. We're not going to get an elite shooting guard at this stage. We don't have the assets. No. I mean, we have 2 first-round picks, but apparently, and this
Zach is the best one on the market that you can get.
Well, Zach LaVine, what would a trade like that look for? Like we'd have to give up Rui, we'd have to give up Vanda, we'd have to Gabe.
That's the problem with giving up the D'Lo contract is that was nearly $20 million in expiring contract salary. Mm-hmm. And you could have put it makes it much harder. They really should have tried to put Gabe and somebody else in that deal. Well, Gabe's been good, but they really should have tried to keep that D'Lo deal for another trade because that contract was big. So yeah, you have to put together a lot.
Another name I like, if we do clear roster spots, and we just got rid of Quincy. I used to like his name, but I would love Markelle Fultz, who for some reason is still a free agent. I thought he had a decent
year. He's been injured, so I don't know if he's back yet. That's why he's also not playing. He's been hurt.
Right. But I thought he was decent with Orlando. So if he is healthy, that's a name that stands out to me in the free agency market. Like there's some names, right? There's still some names out there, but no roster slots. You can't do much to answer that. My guy said, I wouldn't be surprised if Ant ends up a Laker in the future. His aura screams Laker. Bro, I think Minnesota would be nuts not to continue to keep him happy and do whatever he wants to keep him there because
he ain't all that happy right now. He seems like he really did not like that trade. Every time I see him talk about it, even yesterday, he said our starting 5 sucks. Like every time he talks about his team, he's saying stuff like that. Like I don't.
Right.
Quotes like that this year. He's been fined like 3 times. He does not seem happy.
Yeah. La Mamba, I stay in the Inland Empire, brother. Who's your cousin? All right. So it was gonna segue into my next question. DJ kind of touched on it already. Do you think this deal that we made is really Rob Pelinka trying to save face and hold on to those first round picks? Do you think he's like phantom rebuilding with the current roster?
The Jemison or DFS?
Yeah, the Jamison move, like to try to address the big man issue that we've been having for a while.
No, I think I'd hope that they'd still be in on an actual NBA player big, not a prospect that they can probably try to play right now. So I don't know if that's the case, but I don't know that he's going to trade those picks in the first place. If they do a trade, I think he's going to absolutely try to hold on to one. He loves doing that like 1 foot in, 1 foot out thing. So I think that that's probably what he would try to do. And that's depending on what, to be fair though, the market right now is like 2-3 second round picks gets a deal done. With matching salary and or expiring contracts, but 2-3 second round picks. Like the market, I don't think a first round pick has been traded yet in like the 5 trades that we've seen.
Yeah.
So you don't like right now. It's been set already with veterans that you just need a couple seconds. So I that's also why I don't know that he would trade that second first, especially if it's not for somebody that they expect to be young and in their system for a while, which is pretty much what he's also said. He said they would be looking for somebody if they're going to trade both picks. They're looking for a player that can be a part. And he said, and I quote, can be a part of Lakers excellence for a long time going forward, something like that. So I don't really expect that. And in terms of the other part, shadow rebuild, yeah, absolutely. They've been doing that for a while. It was pretty jarring. They've been doing it prior to this year, but it was pretty jarring how coming out of like the offseason, the Hurley stuff was they wanted him to come in and establish a system, organization, and they wanted him to be there long-term, help with player development. That's one of the reasons why they also opted for JJ. And when JJ comes in, the first thing he says is we're in on player development. They draft Bronny. He's test subject for our player development. Like they're all we heard was player development at that time. So they're absolutely in on it. But the key is that I think in today's NBA, historically, you don't want to do the 2 timeline thing. But with the way the CBA is, you have to have young talent coming up. You have to have these guys on these cheap deals coming in that you can plug into your roster because the CBA is just so restrictive now with the aprons and stuff that you kind of have to do that. But yeah, I don't know that he was planning for that part of it, but he absolutely has always, since the AD trade, had 1 foot, I think, towards the future.
That to me is very unfortunate. You would hope that we move in one direction instead of splitting different ways, because I feel like that's going to just cause chaos in the near future. Like we don't even know what LeBron's future looks like, how many years he's got, or even AD.
Well, see, that's why he's also like, do I want to do this? Like, because that's why we don't know. Yeah. So like I can understand that, but as a fan, I would like him to just pick a side and stick to it. But he's always been 1-1. So.
Yep. Let's see. Question here by my guy Savage. He said, "Would you be willing to take on a bad contract of Patrick if we got Ayo added?" Patrick Williams. We're talking about the big man from the Bulls. Is that who we're talking about? I mean, I like Ayo Dosunmu. I don't know what his contract looks like, or Patrick Williams for that matter. But yeah, I think so. I mean, those are 2 players we could use: a wing defender / guard and a rebounding machine type player. Sure, why not? Why not? What do you think about it, Dfree?
AO is taking $7 million even this year, so pretty small deal. Yeah. I think that works. I'd really like to get Vucevic though. He's the most intriguing center on the market for me right now. Makes $20 million, 20-10 guy, shoots from deep. I get you, like I said, 10 rebounds a game. He's the most intriguing big on the market for me.
He's definitely the most skilled by far. By far, he's the most skilled, and he's also a good rebounder, like you said. So that's all. That checks off that box right there. Yeah. I think the cheapest rim protecting style big man just got off the market, man. What did you think of that trade? And we're gonna shift gears a little bit and get off the Laker topic because this is around the league. What do you think of the trade the Phoenix Suns made yesterday, and how much does it move the needle for them?
I don't know if it moves the needle a ton. It's more so signifying that they're out on Nurkic, which Nurkic is somebody that when you think about it, he's like a okay center. You don't think he's great or anything, but he's actually been really bad for Phoenix and fans hate him. Like it's kind of crazy interacting with Phoenix fans. Like they absolutely hate him. And there was a report coming out that he would be the 4th string center behind their rookie, the minimum player, Mason Plumlee, and Nick Richards. Like they are so done with him. They're trying to get rid of him. And that's kind of what it is. So I think unless they can replace him, trade him off, replace his salary with another NBA rotation player, I don't think it makes a tremendous difference for them because they had already, started to move away from him and getting Nick is a nice piece for them, but it's not like he's a high usage, high impact guy. He's just a solid NBA center. So I don't know that it makes a huge difference for them until they can make other moves. But what I would like to say is that was a cheap deal. I wonder if the Lakers were truly in on that or not. They should have been if they weren't. Shame on you, Rob, if you weren't.
Right.
And the Suns have done an interesting job over the offseason into now, getting Tyus Jones, Mason Plumlee.
Well, they have to, man. They're in
Ryan
desperation.
Dunn.
They have no future. They depleted the young core. Their draft picks are gone. They have no future, so they should fully move in for the now.
Yeah, they've done, but with all that being said, with the situation they're in, they did good, which is my point. Whereas the Lakers stood pat.
Now, I do think Rob Pelinka, my theory is he was involved in this because if you notice, right after that trade went down, that's when we cut Quincy Oliveri and went for that big man from the Pelicans, right? So it seems like we struck out there. Maybe we'll hear, updates on that later, but feels like we struck out there and they rather trade with the Suns for whatever reason. And but all in all, man, I'll say this, the league, I think, the market is lower than I thought it would be right now for big men. Like what I mean is they're kind of underpaying with second round picks. I would have thought some first round picks would have been exchanged. Even for Dorian Finney-Smith, I would have thought they would have required a protected first rounder or something for a role player of that magnitude.
Well, what made that deal work is they were getting off salary. The expiring deal is that's the reason why. And that's why it's hard to trade a guy like let's just say Gabe or Vando or Rui, because these guys have multi-year deals. Like they're taking back money that they may not like.
But we still have Christopher Wood, right? And we also have Jalen Hood-Schifino, which I think are two very tradable contracts. So those are expiring deals.
But they're minimum deals. So it's kind of hard to really do much with them. Like the best trade you can get for JHS, like Wood is kind of whatever. He's on a minimum deal. You are only trading him for minimum guys unless paired with another player. But ironically, JHS can get you back a rookie tier player, which would be Kessler, but they're not trading him. So
I don't think they're not trading him. I honestly don't. I don't
know why he would have been on the market in the first place. I
honestly don't think they're not trading him. They just they're gonna have to pay a lot of money if they sign him to an extension. And they just drafted that Mormon kid from Duke. What was his name? I forgot his name. Filipowski, and they have the German kid there as well. I'm sorry, I forget their names. They're not winning basketball. So
Markkinen. Well, they got a 3 big man core there for the future. I think that works.
But they're not winning. And no, they got 4. They got John Collins there too.
Yeah, but there was also a report that came out that the Kings are trying to get him today. So they're trying to trade John. He's not part of their long term. He also doesn't fit the age range.
It just feels like, why would they pay another big man? That expensive contract extension when you're not winning anything. It feels like he's primed and they're just, I think they're trying to overcharge teams at the deadline. And they're going to go probably to the deadline to see if anybody's willing to pay that first round pick.
Well, the tricky thing with him is that when you look at all his stats and everything, and not just blocks per game, he actually really protects anything within 15 feet. He is knocking off a lot of percentage points from opposition. So he's one of the best rim protectors in the league. He's only 24 years old. He's 7 foot, big body. He's able to rebound really well, get you 12 points, lob threat. He's got potential. He's a great player to have. And I understand that they shouldn't, since they're not winning, they should be questioning getting that extension, but they just gave Lowry a max extension too, and they're not winning anything either. So I don't know if they're not trying to keep some of these guys. I think they're extremely stupid, if I'm being honest, if they're trading them. I think they're extremely stupid because I would keep them.
Well, I would keep them if they were more primed and ready to compete now, but they have a treasure trove of draft picks. They just traded they just signed Markkinen, which I think they're going to end up trading in the future anyways. In a year or two down the road.
To a max deal, I don't know if that could be traded. If they want to get rid of him, I don't know if that's going to work.
There's always teams out there, man, that are on the brink and that are going to be willing to take on a contract like that and give you some assets in return. And I think that's all it is, just stacking their assets. But I'll say this. I think if the Lakers were to offer, Jalen Hood-Schifino, another unprotected first-round pick and lifting the protection off the pick they already have, that's an overpay. Even for a player like that, and I think that could get the deal done. And I think Rob Pelinka has to get on that. One comment that was interesting LeBron made is he said the team we have now. Now I don't know if he means as far as practicing in competitiveness, but he said the team we have now is not the same team that's going to be going in the end of March. So, what do you make of those comments? Do you think that's going to be, maybe he knows something we don't as far as a trade market or something?
Yeah, I don't know if he meant with like literally the roster, but maybe just guys getting healthy, them getting more experience with each other and all that stuff. But it's also two-faced. It's one of those things that could mean a lot of different things. And it's Trev said he had plausible deniability because he does. I mean, I don't know if he knows anything, but he could totally try to speak it into existence.
Oh, he's got a lot of power, even within the front office, man. If he's an advisor for sure. He's a front office executive. But let GM at work right there. One more question from the chat. They said, how about Brandon Ingram? I can see the Pelicans wanting our draft picks again. Personally, me, I don't like Brandon Ingram for the fit on this team. He hasn't worked with Zion. It feels like he's not good off ball. I also saw it for Team USA. If we didn't have LeBron and potentially AD, and we were like on a somewhat of a rebuild, I wouldn't mind getting Brandon Ingram to be, a future piece. But as of right now, I don't like the fit personally. I think I don't like it. How do you feel about Ingram on the Lakers potentially?
I mostly agree with you. I think the Lakers could use another big wing that can create and initiate offense. I'd have to look at his catch and shoot percentages, things like that, how often he cuts. Those two are typically what you would associate with playing off the ball. But the good news is, unlike the last time he was here, LeBron has turned into a great off-ball Well, LeBron's always been great off-ball. It's just how willing is he to get off the ball? That's really the question. Like, LeBron's always been a great cutter. He's turned into a great catch-and-shoot player, where they run him off screens now or just post or spot him up, things like that. I think it could be more useful now because LeBron has been off the ball a lot. He's had a career low usage for the most part over the last couple of seasons. And I think BI could be in a position to handle the rock a lot in this team and kind of create. But I mean, if you're getting him for anything more than matching salary, I wouldn't do it. And I don't know that they're going to get anything beyond matching salary anyway, because they're going to have to sign and trade him this offseason, or he's going to sign somewhere else.
Right.
Because there's a disconnect there. They're not getting a first. They're absolutely not. And not even a protected first that turns into a second. It's not going to happen because he's an expiring contract. He wants a max deal. They don't want to give it to him. So unless he says, okay, fine, I'll take 36 million instead of 57 or whatever the max number is for him, then he's not staying there either. And they're just going to move on. So there's BI is done in New Orleans, and they're going to have to get rid of him or just maybe have that asset walk.
I think Zion might be done as well. I've been hearing he don't want to be there either. He hasn't wanted to be there since he got drafted there.
Yeah, well, around the draft, they were saying before he got drafted, he hopes there was reports saying that he goes to the Knicks. Like, there was reports hoping that he would go to the Knicks. He just want to go to New Orleans, this and that. He goes to New Orleans, this and that. So I don't know. But I think that they're in an interesting situation if he's back playing. He's played pretty good the last time that I saw him. I think he's played a couple games, back playing healthy. They've got some nice pieces over there. They got Herb Jones, who's on I think the exact same deal as AR. And he's another guy that's absolutely crushing it and playing way outside of what that contract is worth, because they were just artificially limited to how much they can make due to the draft situation they were in at the time, which is why AR is going to get a fat balloon whenever he's due for another contract.
Yep.
Because he got literally every single dollar that was was
hating on AR right now, bro. Imagine how they're going to hate on him when he's another player.
He's getting a fat balloon. Yeah, they got some guys there, like, DeJounte. I don't know what they're doing with him. I think they would probably trade CJ. That'd probably be a good idea. He's got like 33 million and then I think 33 next year, but you can move on from him. He's been pretty good too. But I think they're in a position to try to retool this team and go forward, but I don't think BI is a part of their future. Zion is kind of up in the air. They're going to get a high pick though, because they got like the worst record in the league.
They're interesting, man. I'm really hoping that the Duke star doesn't go there, man, because it seems like they ruin everybody, man. And the ones they don't ruin, they end up winning out because they don't do a good job of building around their star players, just like they couldn't around AD. And it used to be a challenge back then for small market teams to do it, but now with all the marketability there's around the league, I don't want to hear with the shared revenue splits and everything the NBA has. I don't want to hear no excuses for nobody that you can't build around a star. That means Timberwolves with Ant. That we saw what they did around Giannis. You know what I mean? So you don't have that excuse anymore, which I love personally, because now disgruntled stars will have even more of a reason to want to leave if you can't build a championship contender around them.
Yeah, for sure. I just think one crunch that we're seeing with a guy like BI, a guy like Jimmy Butler, both of them are in the same situation. They're both making a certain amount of money. They both want a raise off that money or an extension at similar money like Jimmy does, which it's different because the age, like Jimmy wants a max deal at 36 beyond. Like there's no way I'm giving you that. You're just not available enough. You're not LeBron. I'm not going to give that to you. But and we're seeing with guys like Levine who have been there for a while on these deals because they got kind of grandfathered in on max contracts from the old CBA. We're seeing a crunch where it's making it to where while these guys have mobility, they can go wherever they want if they're disgruntled. Yes, but the money isn't there because of the CBA. You can't go somewhere else. And this is why it's the way it is. They wanted to limit it that. Like you can't go somewhere else and get another max deal. Like it's just not going to happen. So I think that's the main thing too.
Yeah.
And your contract, if you're like Levine, he's playing awesome. And I don't have any issues with the health or anything like that for him. I think that was like a one-off thing. But his contract is just untradeable because the salary number.
What is it, like 46 million? What is it?
Yeah, like it's like he's paid like the second best player on a team. He's making like the same amount of money as AD. It just doesn't work.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
Man, we're gonna have to figure something out with these contracts, man, because it makes it really hard to trade the stars, which we love around the trade deadline.
Yeah.
43 million? Okay, appreciate it. My guy
still
said they both are tripping no max for either of them. You mean the Pelicans?
No, Jimmy and BI. Yeah, I'm not giving either a max contract, especially today. Like the thing is with the CBA, on the old CBA, they would have got a max deal. They would have just did it. Both these teams would have said, okay, whatever. But on this new CBA, they're like, hell no, because it's too many limits. When you are in the second apron, there's a lot of different things that happen. But one of the things that happens is your pick starts getting pushed to the back of the draft. That's insane. Like
I look, you kind of look. I semi like it, and I also don't. There's like different stipulations in there that I don't like. But
yeah.
There's some of the stuff that's interesting. Like I like the fact that teams like the Celtics don't have a big window to compete because eventually they're gonna have to start picking.
That's why they did that too. You can't stay at the top for too long.
Yeah, you can't stay at the top unless you draft all the time and you constantly recycling players for sure. But it does make for a funner NBA for sure because we don't have that many super teams that can be successful anymore. All right. Let's talk about the Golden State Warriors, all right? Because this is around the league, and I want to poke some fun at them because I got a lot of friends that are Golden State Warrior fans. Unfortunately for them, and I think you were here on the show with me when they were like up there on top of the West, and I said that record's gonna fall off because they've had an easier schedule, and they're really not. They're not that guy. They're not that team, right? They're currently 10th in the West with a record of 20-20, although it's not a huge separation between them and us. But still, I personally think that as constructed, their window has closed. I've been saying this years ago already. I think the Warriors, as constructed, their window's closed. Now, do you expect Curry to get traded at any point in his career, or is he just going to get the farewell tour with the Golden State Warriors, in your opinion, if you had to guess, man? What do you think?
First thing I'll say is saying the window's closed a couple years ago is a little bit crazy because they just won a couple years ago. So.
No. I said this after the Draymond Green punch when they got.
Okay.
Stuff happened with. I knew it. He was shot, and they had to make trades, and you could just tell that the locker room was split. Even now, it feels like a disconnect between the veterans and the young players. You could just see it.
In hindsight, that trade was really bad for them. Like they had to get rid of Poole because of just the team. And they got CP. They tried to spin it. CP wasn't bad. He just wasn't what that team needed. Poole was not great in Washington either. I don't know that he still hasn't been, but that just wasn't a good team for them or a good trade for them overall. So yeah, that's really weird. But yeah, back to your question. Did you say, do I think their window is closed? My bad. We kind of went off on other.
No. I'm saying I know their window's closed as constructed, unless they make some crazy miracle.
Yeah.
And add another star player, which is how Curry has made his living, just star players accumulated. But
let's be one with no stars. That last one against Boston, you gotta give it to him. It was against Boston.
That's the only championship I give him full credit for, man. Honestly, but outside of that, Golden State really benefited from the ankle injuries early in his career. Like they
did.
So congratulations to them. They robbed Curry, and as a result, they blessed Curry with championships. But I'll say this: I think their window's closed already. The question is, do you think? Because I hear you hear the murmurs and the chatter, and I made a prediction that maybe at some point Curry might request a trade if he gets tired of the.
The trade. That's what it is. Okay.
Do you think that it's outlandish to think Curry may request out? You think he's just a franchise player that's going to ride off into the sunset?
I'd actually be really surprised if Curry is traded or if he requests a trade. There's zero chance the Warriors themselves trade him at any point. But
Right.
I'd be really surprised if he himself asks for a trade. They're kind of weird right now where they're saying like two different things. There were some quotes recently with him, Dre, and Kerr all saying, "Oh yeah, we're not going to mortgage the future because only a dumb organization would do that, and we're not dumb. Any organization that would do that is making the wrong decision. Definitely don't do that." But Steph, each time he's asked, keeps saying, "I don't have much longer." Yeah, he said yesterday, "I wouldn't want to be on a team that's average." And I thought that was pretty funny because when you look at the Warriors, like last like 10 games and then also everything for the season, it's kind of hilarious. Let me just read it off to you. Let me just read this thing.
I'm loving that. Go ahead.
The Warriors are at, look, they're at currently, they have a 20-20 record, which is 500. The home record's 10-10. Away record 10-10. Conference record 15-13, so nearly even. That's one win difference. Points per game 111. Opponents' points per game 111. Last 10 games 5-5. That is the literal definition of middle of the road average. So he doesn't want to be on a team like that. So I guess I wouldn't be like crazy OMG shocked, but I don't really think he would ask for it because when a guy's been in an organization as long as he has had the success he's had, it's just really hard to see it. But the reality is that I don't think he's got more than a few years left in the league. And if he wants another one, if he wants to get to 5, he may have to do that. In terms of this season, I think the saving grace for the Warriors is that they, per Tankathon, which ranks the schedules and how hard they are based on which opponents you have left, they've got the 24th easiest schedule or 24th hardest. So they've got one of the easiest schedules remaining from here. And they should be able to stack some wins because while they started easy, have fallen, they're going to hit another stretch where they start winning again because they've got one of the easiest schedules remaining. So I think that's their saving grace, which, by the way, the Lakers are 20th on that list in terms of hardest, while New York has the number 1 and Phoenix has number 2 hardest schedules remaining. That obviously is a sliding scale as teams win or lose more that teams can shift around. But I think I would be really surprised if anything happened, but not crazy because he keeps saying he doesn't want to be on an average team. He doesn't have much longer, blah, blah, blah. So
I have a theory about Steph Curry, and this is why I've never liked him. He's a fake nice guy, bro. I feel like he doesn't want to come out and say the things that'll make villainize him in front of that fan base and the city of San Francisco. But the truth of the matter is, I do believe he wants out. And I don't think he wants to feel like he betrayed his buddy Draymond Green. But we've already seen one Splash brother leave, right? And he was tired of it. Of course, it was a different scenario.
That was a money thing,
right? But I do believe that obviously the Splash Brothers already ended. Their entire core is done. Him and Draymond are not going to do anything. They're just not. Okay. Not in this. The Western Conference is tough, man. It is tough. Even the Lakers are in peril right now, the way we're going. And so I will say, I do believe that. I think, and I made this prediction before. I think during the summer, we might see something go down with Golden State. It might not come this season. It'll be insane if in a month anything happens there. But I think during the summer, topic of conversation gets interesting, especially if they don't make a deep run in the postseason this year. Watch out, Golden State. I think anything's possible. I will say that. Now, I want to switch the topic again. The Thunder, man, they have been just everything we thought they would be, and then some, right? In spite of Chet Holmgren being hurt early in the season, they are currently 33-6 as of entering the day tonight. They are number 1 in the West, obviously. And the Cavs, on the other hand, are 34-5. Now, my question is, who do you think is more of an actual contender between these two teams and more of a dangerous team in the postseason? Because they're like right there, man, hand in hand. They're both up there. If you had to bet your channel on it right now, Dfree, I'll put you on the spot. You had to bet your channel. Who you picking, man?
Man, I'd say OKC.
Okay.
I think OKC. I think there's value in having that record in the Western Conference. Firstly, there's the Cavs. Take nothing away from the Cavs; they're amazing. The Cavs. I'm putting a little bit more respect on defense in this comparison. both teams have a high differential of 11 or 12 points. That's how many they win by on average. But the Cavs are more of an offensive team than a defensive team. The Cavs' opponents' points per game is 111. The Thunder's is 103. The Cavs score 122 points per game, while the Thunder score 116. To me, I think that profiles as like 116, 103. I think that profiles as a team that I think has better chances. The thing with both of these teams, though, is they're both prone to going cold because they shoot a lot of threes. And so if they have an off night, they can kind of lose to anybody. And sometimes in the playoffs, some of those threes, they just don't go. They don't go on any given night, but in the playoffs, I think especially. So I think you have to fall back on your defense. And the better defensive team by a good margin actually appears to be the Thunder.
That's a great point. I was going to pick the Thunder as well. I like the Thunder. Man, it's a tough choice though, because the Cavs,
it is tough. Yeah.
They look like a legitimate threat in the East, even though right now somebody said they're losing 78-51. But that's regular season, man. Playoffs change everything. Now, I'm excited, man, because I think the Celtics actually have some tough competition in the East for the first time in a couple of years. You got the Knicks are starting to kind of resurge a little bit here with the new trades they made. And then you got, obviously the Thunder in the West looking like some serious contenders. Now, part B of that question is, who do you think is the biggest threat to the Thunder to knock them off in the Western Conference? You got the Memphis Grizzlies balling out right now. The Rockets, who are young and up and coming. You got the Denver Nuggets that are always there and pesky and annoying. Get the heck out of here. And then obviously our Lakers as a dark horse outside team. Like, who do you have? Who do you think is the biggest threat to the Thunder right now?
I like how you just read the top 6 standings but skipped over one team.
Oh, what, the Clippers? Oh, no, stop it. That team is a joke, man. They're a regular season frenzy always.
Oh, my God. I thought that was so funny.
It's funny. I don't even have the standings here, but I will never mention the Clippers.
You just listed all of the top 6 seeds in the West, except for the Clippers, who are 5.
Yay me. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, my God. Unless you mentioned Minnesota, they're a playing team. So it's kind of hard because I kind of personally feel like Houston doesn't have the juice for the playoffs. I personally feel that way.
Juice,
but,
okay.
But because they rely a lot on some young guys. They're kind of floppy. I don't really like it. But they also rely on young guys that haven't been there yet. That's the main thing. So they rely on some young guys that haven't been there. I do think Fred was on that championship team, right? I think he was on that championship team in Toronto.
Yes.
So they've got at least one player there that's been there. They've got, some vets like Adams, Dylan Brooks, some guys that are battle tested, but I think some of the younger guys like Jalen Green, Sengun, I think they're still a couple years away. Whereas OKC, I think OKC is primed for right now. Like, I would not at all be, and it's not based on just the regular season. I think they've gone through their battles while their playoff stay was short-lived, and they actually got eliminated because Shea's error, like, fouling Luka or whatever.
Yeah.
No, it was PJ Washington in the playoffs last year. But while their stay was short-lived, I think that taught them a lot, and I think they're primed to win right now. Memphis, kind of a weird pick. I don't really know what to say. I think and I'm not saying this as a homer, I think low-key Denver is the only team that I could see out of those teams you listed.
Why would you say that comment before saying that?
because I know you, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, you're just a homer of Jokic."
No,
I know you.
I respect your opinion, man.
No. Because I don't. And by the way, for the record, I also like the Lakers. I thought we matched up great with them last year.
Right.
Part of that was because they had one big, and so AD was able to beat the hell out of Chet.
Yeah.
So I think that's another one. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers won that series, but it's going to be a tough match, man. It's gonna be tough. But I don't see any other team winning. Like, I just don't. That's why I said I think they're just going to win it.
I think OKC is really, really good, and they're favored to win the West right now by far. However, I agree with you. I will say that the teams that have the veterans that have been deep in the trenches, like the Lakers and the Nuggets, are their deepest threat because, as we all know, in the postseason, experience is king. Now, it doesn't always mean an automatic win, right? Experience doesn't automatic.
No.
But I'll say, 60% of the time, experience is king. And so I agree. I think the Thunder, man, they don't have too many equals out here in the West. But the team they wouldn't want to see, Lakers, Nuggets. Who else has a bunch of veterans on there that have
Phoenix?
Phoenix, I don't take them serious, bro. They play very small licks of defense, and in the postseason to be successful. They got swept last year because they played zero defense. So I still haven't seen a huge improvement defensively.
The only other team I would think about would be Dallas. Because Luka's a star to that level, and Kyrie's awesome, but they've got to get out there and get healthy and show that they can be out there for a little bit and start playing better, which I think they'll do. Still got half the season left. So that's about it, though. I don't know of any other team, I don't think, in the West. Like, I don't trust Memphis. I don't trust Houston. I don't trust the Clippers, of course. Even though they've got a champion and James Harden there too. I don't know.
We don't trust the Clippers. We're gonna end
I don't trust the Clippers, so I don't think of it. I think OKC's got this, man. Especially if they pull off a trade. Like, there was some rumors they'll get like Cam Johnson. If they pull it, you might as well just honestly. I feel like you might as well just send them the championship.
Well, you know what? If the Lakers don't win it, I wouldn't mind the Thunder taking it all the way.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, they're fun. They're exciting. They're young. They got my boy Caruso over there. But I'll say they have.
I think their best threats are in the East, though. To be honest,
yeah,
I think they would. I think Boston would be a really good match for them. The Cavs, of course, they've played a couple rock fights.
I like the Knicks.
New York would be good.
I really like the Knicks as a dark horse to come out of the. I wouldn't even say a dark horse, just as somebody to come out of the East. I really like them. Although the Cavs right now are looking good. The Celtics are just so annoying in the postseason. They get all the calls. But I would really love the New York Knicks to come out of the East. Man, it would be awesome, man. Now, all right, that was a very good topic right there. All right, bro, we gotta pull this up right here, man. You know what I'm about to show you here. You know what
okay.
Mr. John Moran just did
situations. John, the late game
didn't count.
Spoiler alert, it didn't count, but I mean, this is one of the best dunks I have seen in the last how many years, bro?
Well, especially because like the stature of these guys, dude's 7'4", Jaws like 6'1", like.
Now, here's what really frustrates me and pisses me off. It didn't count. Spoiler alert, it didn't count. So, and that's what my next topic of conversation, man. That's what bothers me right there about the NBA. The fact that a play like that didn't count because of a ticky-tack foul before he got to the ring. Okay? So they just prevented a historic moment right there. It could have been on lots of commercials, and it probably still will be. But it's like, man, we never know if that's a legitimate dunk because Wemby didn't fully jump because he heard the whistle, right? So that's the claim from Spurs fans that I was getting today in the DMs. Oh, that dunk didn't count because he heard the whistle. He didn't even fully jump, and they're right.
That don't mean nothing. It's still a poster, man. You better go up. You got to go up. You better go up.
Now, the commissioner has been addressing recently on podcasts that they want the NBA to be a little bit more defensive oriented because fans want to see it. Do you think we'll ever get back to that again, man? Because again, this play was stolen due to a ticky-tack foul that happened before he got to the ring. How do you feel about it?
I don't know about the defense thing. I mean, the problem with the defense is that the offenses they're just crazy. They're like hitting new levels every year, and they're just doing stupid stuff. Like the Celtics shooting 50 freaking threes per game. The Celtics are I think the first team in the NBA history to shoot more threes than twos. It's insane. It's insane. Like, I don't, and obviously when you do that, you're going to generate just more points. Like, it just is what it is. I think giving back some freedom to defenders would be nice. And that's more or less it. But yeah, in terms of ticky-tacky stuff, I mean, they've always called ticky-tacky stuff. Guys old heads famously talk about, Magic, Laker guys said, you can't touch Michael or it's a foul. Like, they always call some ticky-tacky.
I think that's more trash talk. Today is the most.
Oh yeah, well, no. But I'm just saying, like, that's never going to go away because it's always been a thing. Especially, I think more so what it is that, like, it used to be that way for star guys. Now it feels like everyone can get some ticky-tacky calls, except for a rookie. But I would honestly, if they would just like get rid of fouls and free throws altogether, I wouldn't mind. Like, all it does is slow the game down.
Fouls and free throws. Okay, that's
get rid of it. Just get rid of it.
Just completely just do it.
Just get rid of it. None of it. Just get rid of it.
My man's trying to watch football on the court. Okay. All right, man.
Okay, how about grifty fouls? Can we just say those, like just the ones where the dude stops in front of you while you're running, or they're jumping into you, like stupid stuff like that?
we should not be penalizing defenders like just for trying to play defense. It's like it's hard. There was a time a couple of years back when my Lakers had to guard the Houston Rockets with a prime James Harden with their hands behind their back. That's how bad.
I remember that.
That was disgusting. Okay, and they had to implement some rules to take some of that away.
Yeah.
But man, that was probably like the rock bottom right there.
Yeah.
All right. Who's your favorite for MVP right now, man? I think we had this conversation over the phone, but I want the chat to hear it.
Right. This is why I said what I said earlier. If the Nuggets make a top 3 seed, I think he gets it. I'm going to be honest. If they're a top 3 seed, I think he gets it. If he's not, if it's not him, I think it's pretty clear that it'll be Shea this year. I don't think it'll be anyone else. Not unless Luka comes back and goes crazy. There's not a Cav that's putting up enough numbers individually to get there.
Right.
And I don't think anybody else in the East, aside from the Cavs, will have an MVP. So I think it's really only those two guys. There are some great players playing awesome on some of these teams. Like, speaking of the East, Cat's been awesome. He's put up 25 and 14. Like, that's great production. The Boston guys have been really good. Obviously, Giannis has been amazing. Actually, Giannis, I think, could be in that conversation too. But I think it's really just going to be those two guys.
You know what? I throw Donovan Mitchell in the hat. Especially
I would too, but like I said, he doesn't have the production. They're gonna factor in the production. He puts up like 20 points per game. No, 23 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists.
All I'm gonna say is that the MVP award the last couple of years has been a popularity contest. If we want to talk about production, it should have been Shea last year, and it should be Shea this year for what he's accomplishing. But you're right. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let's see who finishes top 3. The West, man, is alternating every night.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, you see it every year with the West.
Yeah.
All right. Jimmy Butler. All right. Before we let you go, Jimmy Butler, man. I might not be moved by this trade deadline. He recently had a meeting with Mickey Arison and ownership from the Heat. God knows what was said then, but I don't know if you saw Kevin Love's troll post today. Kevin Love making fun of his teammate, Jimmy. What do you think has the best fit for Jimmy, including the Heat? Who do you think right now before the trade deadline?
I think he could go anywhere and look pretty good. I'd like him a lot in Memphis. He kind of shot that down. I think that's mostly like I'd like him in Milwaukee too. I also would like him on a team like OKC, giving them another veteran that can help them.
That would be.
But like I said, I think he could go anywhere and look good. I really think he could. So I think those are some of the teams I would consider. But obviously, as a Laker fan, I wouldn't want him to go to some of those teams.
Right. I'd rather him stay put than go to a team where he actually like the Warriors or a team where he makes an impact.
Yeah, I think he would fit good on the Warriors too. And that's one of the teams he's been most linked to as well. I just don't know. You're gonna have to make it through the slog of the regular season to make it through the playoffs. They probably still wind up as a play-in team. But if you get to the playoffs, I mean, playoff Jimmy with Steph is kind of crazy on paper anyway. So yeah, I'd like that, but he could fit anywhere. Houston, Memphis, he can go anywhere. Some of these teams though, they can't actually trade for him, whether they don't have the salary or assets. But to be fair, I don't know if it really would cost many assets. Like I know he's Jimmy Butler, but similarly to BI earlier, if you're the Heat, you don't really have that many options. Like you just don't. So you're going to either lose this guy for nothing, or maybe what these teams are holding out for is an off-season sign-in trade. That's what they're hoping for. But I think that's tricky, though, because if you're the team that's receiving a player in the sign-in trade, you get hard capped. So I wouldn't want to do a sign-in trade if I can avoid it. So, but that may be the only way he gets the money he wants and goes to the destination he wants. So it's tricky, but yeah, I think he could fit anywhere, to be honest. But I think top choice, he already shot it down. He's apparently not going to go there, but I think Memphis. I think him going there would be pretty good because they're a team that's great. The best thing about Memphis is that last year they dealt with all those injuries, and it really gave them the chance to find some guys that are like G League guys, young guys that they can use going forward, notably some of the guys that are from the Lakers, for example. And those guys have been plug and play pieces for them to where while they're having injuries this year, they're able to still use those guys and still be successful, or at least win at a 50% clip to stay afloat as a top team in the West. And I think adding a veteran like Jimmy could help temper down Ja, maybe help him mature a little bit faster. And he'd be a nice piece alongside him, adding another dog as well. So I'd like that too.
I'd actually like to see him go to Milwaukee. I think that's a perfect fit, man.
Him for Chris, I think, is a swap.
Yeah. If it happens, oh my goodness, the East is going to be finally having some competition like the West does over here, man. So that would be nice to see. But I think he ultimately is going to end up staying with the Heat unless somebody strikes a deal in the 12th hour.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky because there's not a lot of time. The deadline's in like 2.5 weeks. It's like February 6th, right? Like 2.5 weeks. So there's not a lot of time to materialize something. So I don't really know. And I don't know if Pat is going to. I know Pat's like, I'm going to stand firm and do what I want to do. So you can't like strong arm Pat into doing anything. So
you're LeBron strong arm, bro. That tells you everything you got to know about.
Oh, LeBron tried to strong arm him twice with Spo early and then on the leave.
Didn't he trade Wade one time, or did he just leave in free agency? I don't remember.
I think when he went to Chicago, I think he left in free agency.
Did he? Okay, so that tells you he couldn't even strong arm him. You know
yeah. You're not gonna. You can't strong arm Pat. But at the same time, though, like I said a couple times, I don't think you're getting a first round pick. I don't think you're getting a pick swap. Maybe you'll get some pick swaps. I don't think you'll get protected first, though. It's gonna be like seconds and maybe some swaps.
Man, I would love,
and hopefully a young player back. That's useful.
For the sake of the trade deadline. I want to see movement, even though there's new CBA trying to block stuff off. But I'm trying to see movement, man. All right, final question. All right, out of 3 young guards, man, 3 of them in the league right now: Cade Cunningham, LaMelo Ball, John Morant. Ooh. You're starting your franchise. Who you building around?
Hold on. Give me your answer first. Let me pull up the number for Morant. I recently saw Cade, but let me pull up Ja and the other guy.
Cade is special. Cade is very special.
Cade is awesome.
I like a flary, fun young point guard, though. I'm gonna go. It might shock you, but I'm gonna go with the. Okay. LaMelo. I'm going Showtime.
Oh, okay.
LaMelo on this. So he's averaging 30 right now. Just killing it with 7.8 assists. Man, the guy is really what we thought he could become eventually. So I'm gonna go Melo. I like his scoring ability. I think he translates to the modern NBA. Flashy passer. He would fit LA perfectly if I wanted to rebuild around a point guard. Who are you going with?
Yeah, I understand that. I like that. LaMelo averages the most shots per minute since I think Wilt is a stat I saw recently, which is insane. He is a chucker like none before.
Oh, we like chuckers down here in LA, man. We like chuckers down here.
I think he's a chucker like crazy. I think also Ja fits the criteria you said. That's why I thought you were talking about him. I think he's flashy. He plays with a lot of flair, a lot of attitude. I think actually the way he likes to pump up the crowd, talk shit. I think he's an LA guy. I think he would be good in LA.
My only thing with Ja is his play style is reckless, and That's the only reason I don't think he has a lot of longevity.
He'll grow out of that, though. All the guys grow out of that eventually. It's just more or less, are you going to grow out of it before you potentially get an injury? But they grow out of it. So I think that's where it is. But my only thing with Ja is that he's also kind of like lanky, kind of like skinny. I don't really like that all too much. The other guys are much bigger. In fact, they're both 2 of the bigger guards in the league. Cade 6'6" and LaMelo's 6'7". Mm-hmm. So I will play the field here and I'll go Cade. Oh, I like LaMelo. I like all 3 of these guys, but I think Cade is awesome. Like, I think he's really taken another step. And I think Cade is an all-star right now. I don't know if he'll get voted in because I know LaMelo is going to get voted in because he's got all the votes, literally. He's going to be an all-star. I don't know if Cade will, but Cade, just to give you some stats for Cade, 46% from the field on 20 shots, 38% from 3, 80% from the free throw line, 6.6 rebounds, 9.4 assists, 25 points. And he's also got his team in the playoffs. Yeah. You know, we talked a lot about Detroit being so-and-so. They're the 7th seed right now, 21-19, last 10, 8-2. Cade he's taking that step and he is awesome, especially for a team that went on like one of the longest losing streaks in NBA history last year. And I think he's going to be much better going forward. And I think he profiles as a guy that I would like to start an organization with. Also, he's not as flashy as Flair like LaMelo or like Ja, but he's steady.
Right.
And I think there's value in that.
I love Kate. Also, shout out to head coach Monty Williams, and the assistant coaching staff.
Is he actually still there?
Monty?
Didn't he get fired? I think he got fired, actually.
Did he?
He got
that
fired.
That was last year, right? Who's the current coach? I haven't been paying attention to Detroit. I know they're doing good, though. Is it JB? Who is it? Who's there right now? It might be JB, right? It might be JB. I think so.
I think, yeah, it's the Cavs coach from last year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's JB.
Well, shout out to him. Shout out to whoever the coaches. They've done a tremendous job of elevating that franchise, man, from the horrible record that they had last year to the record they have now. That's amazing. So credit to Bickerstaff. And but yeah, Cade is a great pick, man. Can't go wrong with either three. But yeah, man, awesome pick. All right. Before we let you go, man, shout yourself out. Kimiko, if you're in the chat with us, please post all the links, and everybody in the chat, go follow my guy Dfree. Go ahead. Dfree, go ahead. Tell him what you're doing.
Yes, sir. I am on Laker Nation probably about once or twice a week at this point. We haven't squared away my deal yet, so I'm still kind of in and out, but I'll be over there more going forward. Also on the Basketball Bulletin, as you can see in the corner, that's the channel that Trevor Lane and I do, where we cover all the league teams, and that's why I know things about guys like Cade or some of these other guys, because we talk about all these guys all the time. So if you guys are interested in a format, I guess similar to Around the League, where we talk about a lot of teams. In fact, we don't actually cover the Lakers all that much because there's so much crossover. When we look at our analytics, there's so many people that watch Lakers Nation, so we don't really cover it all too much. So it's pretty much everything but Laker news. So if you want to check it out, you guys can find it. Kimiko will put it there. And I also do my own individual gaming content. I'm playing Soul Leveling Arise, a couple other games on the channel called Dfree.
Awesome, man. Hey, listen. First of all, I want to thank my good friend Dfree for coming through today, man. Hey, you made it too. Maybe you made it right on the dot. Yeah, so I do appreciate you, my guy, and make sure you guys do show love and support. They got a great channel over there, man. The Basketball Bulletin is amazing. The gaming stuff, I do gaming stuff myself, so we definitely want to show the gaming community some love. Dfree is huge over there in the gaming community. Heck, he's even bigger than the basketball community. So make sure you guys tap in with him. I get lost in the sauce when I go visit him over there at the gaming community. You don't even see my comments sometimes.
Oh no, I see you,
bro. So shout out to Dfree, man. He's doing it big. He's jack of all trades, masters of all of them. And again, I want to thank my brother for coming through today and blessing the channel. That's gonna wrap it up for us here on Around the League. Thank you guys so much for participating in the chat. Thank you for the super chat as well. Appreciate you guys and all my members for contributing always, as well as Kimiko for posting all the links. That makes it really easy to follow and to support our guests on here. All right. Thank you guys. And again, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for coming on. Always a pleasure having you. And I will see you guys on the next one.